So I spent quite a lot of time looking at the footage from the Standstone Way, and I did a bunch of voiceovers, played out with push a bit, kind of put a bunch of it together, and then scrapped the whole lot because I really didn't like what I'd done with it. When it comes to FKTs, there's really not that much to say. It is so personal, lonely. Yeah, it's not that exciting because you're just plugging away at a comfortable pace. So other than saying it was wet, it was muddy, there were a lot of gates, and then the amount of sand and grit wore out my brake pads, so I had to call it quits 19 kilometres from the finish, which was pretty heartbreaking. Other than that, there's not really a lot else I can say about it that's interesting. So I think I'm going to focus more on like the why rather than the what. So at the end of last year, I struggled really badly, actually, like a lot, with motivation and just feeling a bit lost and like it wasn't really worth it. I've invested so much time and money and energy into racing abroad and going all in the hope that sort of I could prove that my results were on a upward trajectory. And I think I did do that, which is why it was so hard to then basically have everyone say, we're not interested in you. You kind of end up feeling like a bit of an outsider in the sport you've chosen to do. And then when it's kind of, marathon's such a niche sport anyway, so that it doesn't really get that much recognition, and even the World Cups are sort of dropping it. The number of races have gone from 4 races last year down to 3 races this year. There's quite a lot of races that are now saying we're not running anymore. That, yeah, it kind of feels like you don't get the recognition that you think you deserve, or yeah, there's very little exposure around it, even though like the range of what we actually have to do is quite broad, because there's some races, especially when you get to start stage racing as well, where you have to be able to punch and you have to be able to do those sort of 2-hour races, basically an XCO race. And especially when there's courses that are super techy as well. World Champs this year was really techy, especially in the mud. Swiss Epic as well. The most techy race I've ever done. That was awesome. But then you get the other end of the spectrum where you've got sort of 10-hour races that are significantly less techy, and sort of bits in the middle where it's like 6 hours, and for some reason you're going up a fire road and down a fire road, which in my opinion is awful. But yeah, we've got this massive range to cover, and it's just really hard to get any exposure for yourself, even though you're doing all of these things and you're trying to do a lot of stuff. So a lot of what doing the Standstone Way was kind of trying to get a bit of exposure, a bit of recognition, yeah, and just kind of move more into a UK space for this year, because last year, racing abroad, you just feel like a massive outsider, and just mentally found that really difficult by the end of the year. Yes, so this was a lot about sort of doing new things, having a bit of an experiment, and setting new, exciting, different goals, I guess. And this was just sort of like a bit of a test bed for some of those goals. I just wanted to get out, do it, and see what happened. And there's some really exciting things that like we have in the UK, whether it's racing the sort of FKT personal goals, that's where I want to focus my efforts on this year is, yeah, British, exciting, fun things that are what I want to be riding. And it turned out that this was not the route I wanted to be riding, but yeah, that doesn't change sort of what I got out of it, and definitely got quite a lot of motivation out of it, that there are things that you don't have, just because you're training for a specific type of discipline, just because you're training for a certain time frame, it doesn't mean you can't go and do these other super cool things, super fun, yeah, especially on a year where race goals aren't the most important thing. And yeah, okay, I say I've got motivation back, but clearly I haven't got motivated enough to clean the bike. Sorry, intense. Maybe I'll do that this evening. Yeah, so it was really good to sort of just get out there and enjoy riding the bike. And this was a massive quick fire thing. This, honestly, it was the first time I'd ridden this bike, so it handled super well, no issues at all other than my self-inflicted ones, and I really enjoyed riding the new Intense gravel bike. And yeah, tyres were great, thanks Robbie. It turns out that G1 all-rounds actually cope really, really well with those muddy conditions, despite what the tread might suggest to you initially. They were great, and it was really good to talk as well beforehand, because my nutrition strategy without them would have been nowhere near. So I'll do another video on that because it was super interesting, and it definitely, yeah, it taught me a lot, and hopefully can teach some other people a lot as well and help share that information about. Yeah, so obviously I was really cross when this didn't happen, and I was yeah, I was really upset at the time, but I actually got over it really quickly because there were so many positives that came out of this, not least of all that I am still really keen to ride the bike and really keen to ride it a long way. Whether that long way is 6 hours or 14 hours doesn't really matter. It's just really cool to get out there again and have some goals to aim at. So I hope this shouldn't be the last FKT for me, and it certainly won't be the end of racing marathons or Axio. But yeah, this is the year of new things and trying out new stuff. So yeah, I hope this sort of helps inform some people of like, what it's like racing and being, yeah, getting to the end of a big goal and struggling with these problems, because everyone does, I think. And yeah, it helps a lot just talking to friends and family about it, and because we're all having the same issues. So yeah, check out the video I do on nutrition, and hopefully we'll have some more exciting videos later on in the year.